Work in oils using brushes and palette knives on a support of either canvas or panel. Sometimes I incorporate sand. Question.
Okay, so encaustic is a combination of purified beeswax, pigmented with oil paint, and also with a little bit of damar. And as a side note, the bees use damar, which is like a tree resin. They collect it and surround foreign bodies in the hive, and it's used kind of like an antiseptic. And in painting, it helps harden the paint and give the paint a more ceramic-like finish.
I am a glass blower, and I create three-dimensional work by blowing and sculpting molten glass.
I always begin by laying down a color ground using a dryer called liquid, which speeds the drying time for all future layers of color. On this ground, I place shapes of color that sing and dance for me. From here on, the process is completely intuitive. I listen attentively, and there will be an inner prompt about what to do next. This prompting seems to come from an inner longing that is guiding the process, a longing that wants to bring completion and wholeness to the piece that I am working on.
Okay, so the encaustic painting is really primarily about fusion. So each layer has to be fused together with some sort of heat source. I use a blowtorch. And one thing that I really love about it is that it hardens really quickly so that I can gouge into it. You can mark make. There's a lot of flexibility in that. And I like to work vertically, so you can dig down and build up at the same time, much like sculpturing, really.
My process consists of training and working with an assistant who will bring over hot bits of glass, and I attach them to a blown form that I've made and colored. And with those hot bits of glass, I'll sculpt with an assortment of tools. I'll sculpt each piece.
The natural world is what inspires my work. Its color, its miraculous interconnectedness, its aliveness and energy, the sense of presence in the trees, the lake, and the sky. It is these qualities that I seek to express in my work.
Okay, so back in 2000, I saw a show at Edward Day Gallery, Don Maynard's solo show, fell in love with the work and the medium, and then soon after that I took a one-day workshop with him actually in his garage in the back of his house. It was one day. I was completely hooked with the process and the beautiful medium of wax. And then I sold my practice about 6 months later, a 20-year practice of, I owned a massage therapy clinic here in Kingston. And then I became a full-time artist after that.
The movements of the ocean and the waves and the foams that live within it usually inspires most of my work. And I've also come to recognize that the movement of glass itself has inspired the direction of my work.
I spent a year in England studying art before I entered the BFA program at Queen's. One of the tasks we had to execute was to make a sculpture in clay from a live model. It was a powerful experience for me. The connection with the clay, its sensuality, and how what the eye was seeing would seem to move directly through my hands, as though my hands knew what to do all by themselves. This experience remains with me today as I paint.
Okay, so on top of the wonderful qualities the wax gives me as far as being very sculptural and pliable, I love the fact that you can build transparent layers, and wax also picks up the subtlest of markings. I mean, you see a history of work in a wonderful, subtle way. And And I've always been interested in sort of marshland, lichen, boggy sort of landscapes. So I love creating kind of the tiny worlds of lichen, and you can and sort of this breakdown with it sort of digging down and giving you the impression of decay and degeneration and historic layers of life.
I initially started practicing ceramics, and I knew I was always good with my hands and sculpting. And then I tried glass blowing for the first time, and the media itself I was drawn to, and the excitement, the fire, and everything involved. So I was able to switch over to that quickly, and I've never left since.
My passion is the sense of the life force, the life energy, and how it is held and embedded in the transcendence of light and space. Oil paint and brushes suit this admirably. The oil paint is fluid and mobile, suitable for expressing energy. The brushes connect directly with the hand and enable a lively sensual expression of this energy. One can build the paint in layers to develop the feeling for light and space.
Okay, I would say that the subject matter is the wax, because it is so textural. I think people normally just have an initial response to the texture itself. What I love about it is that everything I do, whether it's building transparent layers or digging down, creating depth, creating some sort of history, all the markings, everything is recorded in the wax. So in a way, and it's called action painting actually, when the viewer has the chance to sort of see the process that the artist has gone through. So I'd say that I'm not really interested in painting actual objects. It's more that the painting itself becomes the object.
Media glass inspires my work because the movement of the glass actually reflects a lot of the movements that the ocean has. So I also don't sketch with any of my ideas. I tend to just go straight into the workshop, and because of the glass's organic nature, I'm able to sculpt and with the process create pieces that are in my head and create them into a three-dimensional piece.